The chapel reveals its beauty. The initial plan put before the province called for $45,000 to get the building up and running. Fathers Andre and Joe planned to use the money for capital repairs and save $10,000 to $15,000 for heat and food for the first season. The friars spoke to plumbers, electricians, and carpenters about the condition of the house before coming up with a budget. It was not much by ordinary standards, especially since the house was in such bad shape. With 3 floors and a basement, every room needed serious attention. Both friars thought a lot of the work could be done by volunteers. In early spring of that year, Father Andre took friends, Pat Spanner and Esther Mascolino, to the building. He knew both women from his work at St. Mary's Church in Mount Vernon. They offered to look over the house to see what was needed once repairs were made. Pat remembers clearly the first time she went into the building. She was wearing sandals and recalls being afraid to walk for fear that some creature would crawl across her toes. Andre said, "We are going to go through the building. Use your imagination and see what we need." We opened the door and climbed through the rubble. We went room to room and decided what we needed, she said. As they made their way through the house, the list grew. Beds, chairs, mattresses, pillows, dressers, linens, curtains, shades, lamps, towels. They needed tables for the dining room, dishes, silverware, glasses, pots and pans. All this in addition to the major work that needed to be done to improve the structure itself. Suddenly, the money from the province seemed very little for what Father Andre wanted to accomplish. Finally, they went into the chapel. It was located on the first floor at the end of a long hallway lined with 3 bedrooms. It was at the back of the building, facing the enclosed garden and away from the street noise. The room was small, but even in its desolation, crumbling walls and broken windows, there was a sacredness about it. This was the heart of the house, and that heart still beat strongly. All of them felt it. The stained glass windows were the only remnant of the Franciscan sisters' chapel, but the chapel had an aura of prayer surrounding it from the more than 50 years of prayers the missionary Franciscan Sisters of the Immaculate Conception offered in that place, said Father Andre. Immediately we felt it, said Pat. You just knew it was a place of prayer. It was the right thing. It was an incredibly special day. They left, knowing they had their work cut out for them, but they moved forward with renewed hope. The visit to the chapel cemented their determination to transform the building into a house of prayer.